Mayor Kevin Faulconer, welcome back.
Good to be back. Thank you, Peggy.
No, Republican Chris Cate and Democrat Carol Kim are running against each other for a city council seat in District 6, which represents Claremont, parts of Kearney Mesa to Rancho Penasquitos just below Highway 56. If Cate wins, Democrats lose their supermajority on the council. How will that impact your job?
Well, I'm a strong supporter of Chris Cate for a variety of reasons. I think Chris has not only the experience, but he's a big believer in the reforms that, and I think most San Diegans want, which is continuing to make sure we're running efficiently at City Hall and doing the right thing. So I look at it less from a partisan standpoint and more of we need to have somebody in that seat that understands how important it is to get the city back on track, economically speaking. It's going to be fighting for our working families and also, as I said before, really sticking to the reforms that we've spent the last 5-7 years pushing and voters have supported.
So the supermajority doesn't really, it's not that big of a deal to you?
I think every issue is going to be different. And, since I've been elected, I've tried to set the tone that you treat people with respect and with dignity. It doesn't matter about party affiliation, but it matters all about, are we moving this city in the right direction? I think Chris will be a great addition to the council, and I hope he wins here coming up in just about 1 week, I guess.
Well, former city council member Carl DeMaio, back in May, you endorsed him for the 52nd congressional seat. Since then, one of his campaign staffers, as you know, has accused him of sexual harassment. Do you stand by your endorsement, and if you do, why?
I did endorse Carl a year ago. He has my endorsement, and I know there's been a lot of back and forth, certainly in that race. But I am spending most of my time on the District 6 City Council race, which we just talked about. I think that has a direct impact, obviously, of a lot of reforms that I'm pushing on in the city. And really, my vision of bringing the city together is one San Diego in all neighborhoods. And I think Chris Cate is going to do a great job.
Well, moving on to the police department, I know they are actually getting a compensation survey that's supposed to be due out at the end of this month in just a few days. What can you tell us about it? Where does it stand now?
We have a real issue when it comes to police officer recruitment and retention. That's one of the reasons in the budget that I put forward that we increase the number of recruits in our academies from 34 to 43 in each one. The worst thing that we can do is to spend a lot of hard-earned tax dollars hiring these great men and women, joining our department, and then they leave for other departments. So I commissioned this salary survey to see where we are, so we have a benchmark. But regardless of what that survey is going to come out with, and I know it's going to show us low, we have to change that. And we have to make sure that we're competitive, that we're keeping these men and women. And it's too important for us to make sure that they're staying on our police force and we give them the resources to do that.
Would you be willing to pay them more?
Absolutely. And one of the things that we're going to be looking at is compensation. We got to look at what our neighbors are doing in other cities. We have to look at what our sheriff's department is doing, which is one of the biggest draws. I'm going to ensure that this police department is competitive and that our men and women have a very clear path as to how they can be successful.
Now, I know that you pushed for the city's mandatory water restrictions, which go into effect this weekend. How long do you anticipate that these mandatory restrictions will have to last?
We're not sure how long they're going to last. Obviously, we've been here before as a city during our last drought. And in fact, as you look at, it's really been a way of life for a lot of San Diegans. We'll get through this one again. It's hard to predict how much it's going to rain and when, but it's all about making sure we're doing the right thing, particularly from outdoor landscaping and watering, and to keep us on that path. I will say San Diegans have done a great job. We just need to keep it up.
And speaking of that path, you actually announced this app for water wasters, and there's also a hotline. How will the city respond to people calling in and saying, look, my residence or someplace else I see is a water waster? Yeah,
the idea is, let's say you're driving by a city park and you see, this sprinkler's broken, it's just pouring water out. There's an app that you can go on and in real time, send it right. It goes right away to the city department and we can get somebody out there to fix it. It's all about using technology to be smarter, so you don't have to go home. What is the phone number I should call the water department? And I think it's going to get a great response.
Now, we've only got just a little time left, so I want to end on this. Are you moving forward with plans for a downtown Chargers stadium? And if so, how would that be funded?
Keeping the Chargers is important in San Diego. And I'm less concerned about where a stadium may or may not go, but more concerned about any financing plan has to protect us as taxpayers. And so that will be the basis on which we come to that decision. voters will have a final say in approval. I think we can do this as a city. You know, it's going to take a lot of work for us to get everybody to the table. But as I look, for example, the work we did on Petco Park, it was an open process, voters supported it. I think we have the same opportunity to do that with the Chargers.
All right, well, we'll certainly be following this and looking forward to hearing from you more on
Great to
this.
see you.
Mayor Kevin Faulconer,
Thank you.
thank you.